it getting bad more than it used to be earlier? Is it getting better? Brand politician as a profession. आप उस पे कुछ tell us what you think about the brand politician.
देखिए, जो ज़्यादा बिकता है उस पर ज़्यादा चर्चा होती है. So politics is like that. You know, unfortunately, if you look at the films, initially after independence, Sahukar was the villain. Then you know, it was in Sholay, jab the villain used to be Daku. Then उसके बाद फिर स्मगलर. आजकल आप फिल्म देखिए, उसमें दो ही विलन आपको दिखते हैं, या तो पॉलिटिशियन दिखता है या पुलिस वाला दिखता है. So I think, having said that, I think politics is all about building brand. It is all about communication. See, those politicians who have been winning elections, who have been, constantly people are supporting them. These are the people who are best communicators. Like our Prime Minister Modi ji is one of the best communicators in this country. He communicates with the last man. Even the last man feels that this person is talking with me and he is talking about me. So I think it's all about brand Modi. Likewise, there are several leaders in this country who have developed their own brand, their own style of politics, their own style of communication. And I think that is what is needed. Today, in today's polity, your personality is also defined by what type of reels you make, what type of reels people watch about you. So it's changing. I mean, the perception is all about, politics is all about perception. So I think that's a big challenge.
Devendra ji, 13 years ago when I first met you, communicating, you touched on this, I want to get into a little bit more. Communicating as a politician 13 years ago and communicating as a politician today, what has changed?
I think the thing that has changed is that 13 years ago, it was a very deep communication. The communication was more serious than today. Today, communication is more about perception. I mean, what point you make. So, there's so much to consume. So, people have a very short memory today. Because every second they have something to consume, either on their mobile or on the TV or on some other media. So, today, it is about making your point, that's all.
And for that, do you feel that you need to become louder and louder? I mean, do you feel that there's a competition that you have with yourself?
No.
I have got to be more, sensational. I'm speaking almost as a news person, but it's because politics and news goes quite hand in hand. So we also then seem that the news industry gets louder and louder. And
I don't think you have to be louder, but you have to be smarter. It is a time when the communication has to be very smart. And of course, smart communication means creating few sensations. But if you just go on creating sensation and that sensation is not backed by your action, then people will not believe in you. So everything which you portray must be backed by action. So I think that is the key to it.
When we first met, I've told you this before, you always struck me as one of those young politicians, BJP's young politicians, who had a lot of strong personal convictions. You had your beliefs, you were very strong about your views. Somewhere in this world where you're communicating in a short attention span, do you feel that your personal convictions are you feel forced to match your personal convictions with what the audience wants? The audience conviction should be matching with yours now because you're in this game. That
you are absolutely right. To some extent, that's absolutely true. Because ultimately you have to be relevant in the game. And to be relevant, you see, we are in a democracy. And in democratic world, you have to think about people's aspiration. You have to match the people's aspiration. and a leader has to mold the people's aspiration. So it is always, a fight between matching the aspiration and molding the aspiration. Matching the aspiration is very easy because you have to flow, you have to actually swim with the flow. But molding the aspiration is something which is very tough. And I think as a leader, you have to understand that going with the flow always is not the way. You can win election by going with the flow, but if you want real transformation, that real transformation can come only when you have capacity to mold the views of people, to mold the aspirations of people.
The one thing that I feel sometimes is common between advertisers and politicians is that sometimes both have to be a little liberal with the truth. You've got to kind of say things that you need to say. अगर आप सीट पे रहोगे नहीं, then how will you be able to think? How do you process that when you're faced with this problem? Sometimes you got to duck a true question, or you got to not go to a space where you're on a weak footing. How do you process?
So I've convinced myself there are always three sides. One is your side, one is my side, and one is true side. So, you have to, have conviction that you are right, but there is always a true side. And yes, there are certain times when you have to duck the questions, because you just cannot justify every single thing. So many things happen in your life. There are certain things in your life where your conviction doesn't allow you to justify those things. But ultimately you have to live with truth, because in today's world, if you are out of game, you are out of game. If you remain in your game, then you may be able to act up to 80% according to your conviction. So I think for me, if you ask me, I would always like to be in the game and then to work with my conviction.
So, Devendra ji, the alliance that's happened, you were obviously waiting for that question to come, I'm sure. But was that 20% moment, or was it in the 80% moment?
No. You see, that is about, the true side. I have my side, they have their side, and there is a true side. So, for me, to stay relevant in the politics, this alliance was necessary. Had it not been necessary, I would not have gone with them. But today, when everybody is grouping against me, against my party, against my leader, then I cannot say no, I'll fight alone. Come what may, मैं शहीद हो जाऊंगा. शहीदों की कोई पूछता नहीं है सर. शहीदों के लिए बहुत रिस्पेक्ट मन में रखता हूँ, लेकिन कुछ सालों बाद लोग मोमबत्ती भी नहीं लगाते. इसलिए शहीदों के लिए रिस्पेक्ट रखते हुए मैं कहता हूँ, शहीद होना भी चाहिए जब देश की आवश्यकता हो, लेकिन हर समय शहीद होकर नहीं चलता है. आप गेम में रहकर ही फाइट कर सकते हो.
So, I don't want to ask too many tough political questions, but it's force of habit, I guess. Devendra ji, what would you say to that first-time voter? वो जो बैठ के आपके मैनिफेस्टो पढ़ रहे हैं, he's making a educated, he's spending a lot of hours discussing. He's not voting because his parents are voting a particular way. He's thought it through. He's gone and voted for a particular party, a particular politician who he believes should be leading Maharashtra. And then they all just get together, and then the alliance is something completely sort of what they hadn't thought of. आप क्या बोलेंगे उनको जो he's invested, the few people who spend time in thinking about it?
First thing I will say, please register as voter. Why I'm saying that, I would like to use this platform to appeal the young voter, because the other day I was sitting with the election commissioner of Maharashtra, and then we had a meeting with all the vice chancellors of the university, because we found out that between the age of 18 and 22, only 11% people are registered as voters. So they may have their views, but those views will never reflect.
You're talking about including the migrants who've come in, or people who live in Maharashtra?
In Maharashtra. Only 11%, 18 to 22. Now, it must have, I mean, number must have increased because we started a campaign. Government also started a campaign. Vice chancellors also started a campaign. Maybe 30%, but
It's still a strikingly small number.
70% people who have views. Those views are not important because they are not voting. Your view is important if you are a voter. If you don't vote, and in democracy, if you say that this should have happened, that should have happened, it is your loss. You didn't vote, you didn't register. So I would like to first tell all these young people that be part of democracy. Be part of the change you want. Register yourself as voter, assert, and you have a power to change a government as well. Because you see, it's a youthful country. Our median age is 27. So 18 to 22 is such a large number of voters who can actually make a difference. So I think the first thing I would like to appeal to them is to register as voters.
And brand Maharashtra as when Devendra as Devendra as CM and brand Maharashtra with Devendra Fadnavis as deputy CM. What is the difference?
There's not much difference. The only difference is that I am now deputy. That is the only difference. Otherwise, brand Maharashtra is there. It is there to stay. And I'm telling you that, you see, when our Prime Minister aspires to make India a 5 trillion economy, Maharashtra has to lead the way. Because Maharashtra is powerhouse of India. And I think Maharashtra has to become a $1 trillion economy to make India a 5 trillion economy. And I'm sure, you see, in Maharashtra, with our strategy of, we believe that today the speed of travel and the speed of data will determine how we will develop. And you see, the amount of infrastructure which we are creating, because speed of travel not only gives you ease of living, but also saves time, it saves money, it becomes a part of global. If you want to become a part of global supply chain, you have to have hassle-free movement of goods. So the speed of travel and the speed of data, of course, we are in an era of 5G, and this speed of data will make us reach the last man of the society. So I think these are the two things, and leveraging, the technology. In fact, we can develop. So brand Maharashtra is all about technology. Brand Maharashtra is all about startup. And I must tell you, wherever I get a forum, I tell people that today there are many cities which boast that they are startup capitals. No, the startup capital of India is Maharashtra, because Maharashtra accounts for highest number of startups. We account for 16,000 startups out of 90,000 registered startups in India. And amongst 100 unicorns, Maharashtra accounts for 25 unicorns. So we are the business magnet of India.